Hi, everyone. Nice. So warm welcome. Thank you so much. So, hi guys again. Yes, we are going to talk about conflicts, and more especially, this is my favorite topic. We're going to talk about trust that you can gain through conflicts with your colleagues. Yes, like actually, this is how it's working. Like you have some kind of experience in solving the conflict, in negotiations, in like solving some problems together, and this is how you build trust with people. One of the ways, at least, and it's very effective. So this is what I want to talk about, and I actually really want you to engage in this because if I have more cases, if I have like more material from you, this is going to be much more interesting. And we definitely want to speak on the cross-cultural part, but there's going to be a couple of tricks there. So not your usual, oh yeah, here is Indian culture versus like Norwegian culture and something like that. Asian and European and Americans, they're so different. Oh my God. Yeah, no, nothing like that. But I really hope I can give you some new perspective on how different cultures interact, especially in the terms of conflicts. My name is Alexandra, and I instruct on more effective communication. This is the word ChatGPT advised me to use instead of teaching. I don't know why, but I'm going to tell you that I'm instructing on better communication for you. I have a vast background in IT, especially managing IT teams. From the early age, I decided I like programming, but not enough to do programming. Like I admire you guys if you are into programming, but still I want to manage the guys that do amazing stuff, not do amazing stuff just like as it is. So basically, I had a lot of experience in different teams. It's from startups, like from whole blood corporations. I'm sorry, I'm a bit rambling. And I transitioned a lot of roles while leading the teams. And now I'm a founder of my own company. But it turns out communication can be a business. Teaching communication can be a business, and we're doing it. A little bit about the company. We are already 9 years in the market, but mostly during this time, we were doing lots of research. So we have a lots of different knowledge on what are the different now and working steps and instruments in communication. And I'm especially always interested about the limits of each and every working instrument, because like you never have a silver bullet, right? You always have something where this is not working, even though before that it was your favorite tool. So this is what I'm more interested in, and we now teach both in universities and in huge companies. We're consulting both with IT and with FMCG companies, basically any kind of company where a person is valued, preferably for being a good person or any kind of person, but also for their skills, because it's very costly to fail the onboarding process. When it was like, I think there was some kind of speech on that, how to fail the onboarding process. I don't know. I didn't go, but I think it was like very critical for some companies. So basically, we are trying to give you better tools on how to communicate. And one important thing about communication that I'm trying to teach my students is to make a conscious choice. For that, you need to be more informed about how, well, sometimes psychologically we are functioning as humans, and you also need to be more informed about what's going on around you, like in your company, in the specific process, how the another person is feeling. This is where empathy comes in. So hopefully we'll discuss more about it. Enough about me. This is the time. I would really like to listen to you. You can either give me a specific case that brought you here, or to give me just a general broad question, and I want to give you like heads up whether or not it would be covered in the workshop, so that it would be mostly like maximum relevance for you here. You're looking kind of green now, so let's let's talk. Yeah.
I think for me, two most important conflicts in teams are related to the conflict between business and development team. Like business says, I want this immediately, or at least at last tomorrow. And
We won't rewrite the entire code because it's garbage, and we don't want to do that because it's money. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. And I think the second one is either between, let's say, backend and frontend, or between developers and managers. Again, with the same background, managers want everything to be placed accurately one by one, and developers might want.
Okay, so mostly I think that it's conflicts between people with different perspectives and goals. Perfect. Okay, within the company, within the one specific team, right? So people have different interests, and this is what creates a conflict. Something else, like you can give me specific examples, some kind of a conflict you never were able to work out. Yes, hi.
So, there are cultures where it is expected to work overtime. It's like if you don't work overtime, you underperform. And there are cultures where work-life balance is more important.
Okay.
And of course, because like we work in international companies, there are people from those cultures and other cultures. How to
Cool.
make them
They
work
don't
together.
understand each other because some of them think you are not working properly if you're not like doing your best about like 12 hours a day. Okay, perfect. Interesting thing is that you didn't even have to name the cultures. And this is not always about cultures, because sometimes in one specific culture we have the same like attitude. Someone thinks that we have to work until the work is done, and sometimes we have to work like until it's 5 p.m. and we all want to go home and enjoy our family and our dinner, right? Thank you. Something more? Oh yeah, nice. We have more. Cool.
Yes, so we are working on 2 different locations, and our Scrum team and developers even belong to 2 different companies. And we face many issues because of the split of the 2 teams, because also the culture in one company is a bit different, more open than the other one that is stricter. And still we as one team need to come to conclusions and decisions that we need to do together, and we are struggling often with these.
Oh yeah, I understand that it's difficult. So what I'm hearing is that like you have not only different locations geographically, but it's also different countries, different companies with different sort of corporate culture within them.
Yes.
Right. Again, not about culture like culture, but corporate culture. Very cool. Someone else. Sorry. Okay. We have time. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I would double the question from the
Okay,
here.
yeah.
So that's very important. I mean, this connection between cultures and between expectations from the same team.
Different
right?
expectations.
That's the more painful part. The other painful part is coming from like other field of our companies. When so because of the structure of the company, we have people who are deeply involved into hiring people into so-called horizontals. Like we hire people into K, for example.
Okay.
There are projects that demand these people to do the work. And so we have a conflict between people who want people to work and us wanting these people to be professional enough, right? So they want people as soon as possible.
Quality versus quantity.
Yes.
Okay,
and
nice.
We know that they don't want just random people. They
Yeah.
want good people, but they say different things for us.
Yeah, again, I feels like a little bit again different kinds of like goals. Like I need to fill this role, but you need for this role to be filled right, and you are willing to wait. Even like you want someone more professional that they are willing to give you right now. Perfect. Okay, I see. Thank you. Maybe something else like one more, and if you have something burning, like burst it out. Don't worry.
Just one more
Yes.
conflict. A team that has, let's say, 2 rock stars, 2 leaders,
Rock
and
stars.
they try to.
Oh, leadership conflict.
Yes.
I love those. Yes, I love like, and especially I think that one of them is a formal leader and another one is an informal leader, or both of them are informal leaders. I love these situations. And there was a lovely woman in the back.
I feel like a therapist session.
Yes,
When we share something,
yes.
and it gets better. It gets better. Very often, when company needs some changes and improvements, company brings someone from the outside.
Yep.
I don't know, for the architecture changes, whatever else.
Yep.
And the team, of course, most of the
Resist.
team, of course, they don't want to have these changes, to behave different, and of course, it's usually something that we need to resolve somehow.
Oh yeah. So feels like first there is resistance to any kind of change, And secondly, there is also resistance to a specific kind of change when someone else from the outside comes in and tries to change the ways we were always doing things.
And tells us, it says like, you did it wrong.
You did it wrong.
Like,
oh my
you
God.
are wrong. Yeah.
Yes, you're wrong. You're wrong. You did everything like horribly, and like there is no way you could have done worse. So now deal with it and pay me big money to fix this mess. Yes, I know people like this. These are horrible. Okay, so interestingly, I think like the first case, and we are going into cases now, and I have like a couple of those, but we're definitely going to go back to the specific cases, sort of like specific cases that you gave me. But the first one is really related to what you're saying, and maybe you will see the like. Oh, sorry. You wanted also to share something. Yeah, please. Okay, never mind. Like if you want to, we're here for you. So let's imagine a situation, a scenario, where you decide to do something new. Maybe you can put yourself in this situation where like you are the new leader that like trying to something new, like to mix things up, or maybe like new process, new strategy. And so you decided to test a new, put here anything like you do, testing strategy, developing strategy, whatever. And there were some concerns, obviously, because it's not the way you do. So this is some kind of a transition, some kind of a change, and no one is really happy about it. But still, like you considered all the risks, you talked it through, everyone sort of were agreeing, like everyone agreed that this is a way to go, at least to try. And well, you tried and you failed. This happens. You have a retrospective, and now this is an interesting part. I will give you the phrase, like you see the phrase, right? I want you to put, to get into the shoes of the person, of the leader who is faced with this kind of conflict. So if you want to give me an answer, we obviously we will discuss it, but if you want to give me an answer, like let's have a real conversation, sort of a role play, if you must. So I would say to you, who in the world would have predicted that? Oh, are you saying that you didn't predict that? Oh, I'm being toxic now. So you failed us and I'm being toxic, right? Oh, so you don't want honest feedback in front of the team. Cool. Yeah. We see what kind of a manager you are now, right? Thank you. Yeah, we'll stop here. Thank you so much. This was very good. Okay. Well, Evgeny, who in the world would have predicted that?
Actually, that's not the right question. The right question is, I had an idea and I took the responsibility to test an idea.
Oh, good. You're still taking responsibility. So, and you're still thinking that the way you're doing things, like saying now, for example, that my question is not the right question, is like what we need to do. Like, do you think this is like the way you want to lead?
If I make a decision and I take responsibility, I'm capable to perform that.
Great. So maybe you won't correct your people if they want to voice over their concerns?
Yeah, sure. I listen.
Oh, do you listen? Really? So can you list all the concerns that we have and you still made this decision? Yeah? So I see you still don't want to take responsibility for this shit show. Oh, right. Right. Of course. Yeah. Always worth to test. Yeah, sure. It never mind that we gave countless hours of our teamwork of doing this shit show that you now gave us. Like, what the fuck you're getting? What the actual? Am I allowed to do that? Sorry. I just went a little bit too deep into the role. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. I think we can stop here. An idea, like please, let's like if you want to have a different kind of approach, so let's do it. Okay, yep. Yeah, sure. How's your name? What's your name? Elena. Well, Elena, who in the world could have predicted that? Oh, you don't even think that, you don't even know how it sounds to me, right? So you're so clueless, so you don't even know what the fuck happened now, right? So this is the kind of manager you are, right? Oh, perfect. So maybe this is not the time, maybe the time to understand what we think was before you made this kind of a decision? Yeah, I didn't get, sorry, once again, the last part. yeah, we have to deal with it, Lynn. You have to deal with it. And now you again putting responsibility on us to work with this kind of a shit show that you eventually led us to. This is the kind of manager you are. Thank you very much. Now we know who is in charge of our team. So trustworthy. Yeah, some of these things I would definitely, obviously, not say out loud, but unfortunately, these are the things that would be thought by some, at least some of your crew. And obviously, already someone told me that I'm toxic as shit. Again, if you want me to correct my grammar, I will. Like, I still, like, we teach to students, and you know that students are not always very attentive, but if you use harsh language, they are always like, oh yeah, this is one, let's think about it. So, so I would like to do it in a way I always do it, so if you don't mind, but if you do, please tell me. I want everyone to have a like comfortable environment. So thank you very much. Does anyone has some kind of another approach? Like, do they think, okay, you have a silver bullet, please tell us. Who would have thought we will end up like this? Oh, really? Really? Do you think we discussed it enough? Oh, yeah, together. Now we're together, right. So at first she says that she is in the role to take the responsibility, and now we suddenly did it together. And this is our shit show, not only yours, right? Perfect. That's just perfect. Thank you. Okay, guys, let's think about it a little bit. So what was going on? I think you saw that mostly in all of these scenarios, I was almost the same person, right? So I was doing a little bit of toxicity. And what else was there? Like, what was the reason for my toxicity right here? So what do you think? Okay, irrational, irreasonable, no actual arguments. Okay, what else? No responsibility. Feels like this is the employee you want to get rid of, right? Like, this is very toxic to the team. So what would be the reason for my behavior right now if you don't look at me like a person, but at the actual context of the case? What just happened before I said that? What happened? Okay, maybe, but actually you have all the facts right here in the case. What happened? What's my motivation? I worked really hard on something that was risky. I put my soul into it. I really wanted it to succeed. And maybe I did have initial concerns. Actually, maybe you didn't even listen to them enough. Or maybe not. We don't know. This is not the part that you want to discuss now. The thing is, I was so fucking disappointed that didn't work. And like, if we go a little bit like about psychology, and before this workshop, I was talking a little bit, obviously, like warming up the audience. Not you guys. These guys actually didn't make it. They chose other workshops, which I respect. So the thing is, I was talking about what I want to do during the workshop, like the things that we're gonna discuss. And somebody told me, "Oh, this is like talking to children. Like, this is like managing children." And yeah, there are some kind of like same principles when you managing a team. Obviously, we're not saying that like all programmers are children, even though some definitely are, and this is lovely because like they have this creativity as children, but not the point here. Have you ever seen a person who is like so fucking frustrated like I am right now and behaving rationally? I think yes, this is a really like a unicorn. Yes. Okay, so are you behaving rationally when you are in a bad mood, like in a really bad mood and really frustrated and really, really fucking wanna blame someone, even though they are not responsible? Yeah, right. So actually, the approach of ours to conflicts is to remember that we're human. I've heard a lot of reasonable arguments that there are no reasonable arguments from me. Like, I don't have the right to blame this person if we already discussed it. Why are you like bringing it up now? So I feel like you're all nodding and like there is resentment from you. Like, why would this person put it on me even though I'm a manager? or like let's go further, like let's forget about it, like let's go. I even see some of you are now like very frowned or frustrated because this is an uncomfortable situation. But the thing is, it's as uncomfortable for a person itself. And I would also argue that this is not a toxic person by itself, not always. Yesterday, he was a dedicated employee. He actually stayed late and was maybe even blaming others for not giving it the same amount of work you are giving now, like he was giving now. So yesterday, you loved him, and now you resent him. Why? Because of emotions, because the way he's treating the situation. He's undermining your authority. He's doing stuff you don't like. He's blaming others, even though it's not. I don't like when someone blames me, even if I'm responsible. Like it's still it's still not a comfortable feeling. But what I would suggest to do in the same situation, and I've seen numerous cases where this drastically changes the picture, is to think about emotions. And this is actually where it's like 100% like children. Sometimes you tell children that, wow, you're frustrated, and it calms them down. And why it calms them down? Because this is an actual like very cool psychological trick. Here is a psychologist right here. So he might either correct me or say that, yes, this works like this. And let's see what he says. So basically, we all know about feelings. And we know that if we have some kind of feelings, we behave a little bit differently. And it's even true if the feelings are cool, like I'm motivated by, I wanna do it, like I'm excited, and obviously I will do more if I'm excited and motivated. So when the case is not like this, when it's some kind of an emotion I don't like and others don't like about me, it's still beneficial when I hear that I have this emotion. So if I tell a person, I think you're frustrated, the cool psychological trick is that they will immediately try to, like, even though they resent it, sometimes they say, no, I'm not frustrated. This is how kids do it, obviously, and sometimes adults too. But they still will, at the back of their head, see if they're frustrated or not. And maybe they're not frustrated, but disappointed. And maybe they're angry. And maybe if you ask them, are you angry with the result? Like, are you disappointed? They would say, no, I'm not angry and disappointed. I don't know, what else is there? Something else. But the thing is, if you bring the attention to emotions, they will try to see what are their emotions, even though they might resist it. And the ways that you can do it, there are several ways. And the psychological way, I say, is like, oh yeah, you're frustrated. And sometimes people resent this as fuck because they feel like you're talking to them like children. And it doesn't help that they are behaving like children. By the way, if I'm like not making sense, because obviously this is not my first language, you feel free to ask me questions, like, and correct me and whatever. Like, I really want you to be with me and understand. I just recently thought that maybe I'm not saying something you understand. So just a note here. So basically, what are the things that we can do? First, name the emotion. So upset, angry, disappointed, frustrated, something else like calm, like uncalm, unwell, whatever. And then some things that you also can do is, for example, say that this is the emotion that you share. Because obviously your team, the whole team was working towards this project and everyone wanted to succeed. And if you have this kind of a common goal, it makes sense that you also have these feelings, maybe not as strong, maybe you have a better emotion regulation. Maybe you slept more, and this is why it's easier for you to go through, to process this feeling, and not for the person who worked their ass off. And but you can tell him that you're not an enemy. Everyone here is upset. And on the other hand, if you understand that you are very different from this person, and for you, this is like, yeah, we're testing. Yes, sometimes we're failing. I'm totally okay with that. I don't get why you are so upset. But you can't imagine how they're upset, but you obviously see they are. You can just tell it. This is actually, I watch a lot of Netflix, like like almost 100% of my free time is Netflix. And if you go into series and like if you go there, they are in the mind of learning, like how people communicate, you can see that at least in American culture, this is like 100% very like, if they want to portray a person like empathic, you would see that this person is going about like, oh, you were frustrated about that. I can't even imagine how hard it was for you. And so on and so on and so on. So they talk about their feelings. This doesn't sound like very cool, but still they are talking about their feelings, and this makes them an empathic character who, in a way, is like the best leader for us because he understands us and he can care for us to be better and effective to achieve the result that we're having. Yeah, I see. That's very interesting. Okay. Yeah, what I did here is that I did it sort of on purpose. I'm sorry that you had to be an example. But the thing is, now I guess lots of you people try to like, oh, was it interesting? Or wasn't it? Like, is it something that I find really like in line with what I'm experiencing, what I see, what I saw and stuff? And if you don't, like, let's reflect on that, because these are the phrases that I always hear from people. There is always someone in the audience who can say, yeah, you know what, this all good and well, but leave your problems at the door, please, and be professional. Yes, and you know what, you can even go from showing vulnerability as a career killer, but also at the same time, it's like, yeah, sure, emotions are great, but it's not very professional. So keep it in check. And raise your hand if you heard something like that in your career. Oh, wow. But actually not 100%, so that is cool. Yeah, and you immediately want to like show empathy to the person who experienced that, but you sometimes cannot. So the best way is like, I cannot imagine how hard it was for you to have this kind of feeling, right? Because you didn't experience that. So the thing about empathy is that it's not only the way to resolve conflicts, but also any kind, like in any conversation, when you do that, you can have a closer connection with a person because they feel like you heard them. Even though you are not even, like, you're actually saying, I do not understand you. They still feel like, yeah, we became closer because even though you don't understand me, even though you don't have the same experience, you still value my experience and my feelings. So that would be cool for me to know when we go into another conflict together, whether it's a conflict of interest or a conflict on change or a conflict of different cultural and like cross-culture and stuff like that. Okay, so a little bit about the consequences of not doing that and, like, you know, behaving more like this. All good and well, like we're talking about, yes, please bring more emotions. And I guarantee you that you'll see a really, really different turnout of the same conflict. Even if I was role-playing, it calms me down. This is the most insane thing. Even if I know how it works, it still works. Even if I'm like only just pretending to do it, it still works. And if you don't do it, this is, well, not number one reason for burnout, but actually it is, because burnout, it's a lot of, it's like top 3, I think, right? Okay, but in companies where we have, like, that's a good thing that I have these 2 slides together because I'm going to constantly go back and forth. So if we have this kind of a situation, you constantly have some kind of a passive-aggressive behavior, some kind of I'm frustrated, but I have no way to talk about it. Maybe with my not with my coworkers, at least, maybe with my spouse or with my girlfriend, boyfriend, maybe with my psychologist, which is like a part why are they so popular now, but not with my actual manager, with my team. So that leads to me not trusting them and constantly having these feelings and being burned out by them because it eats up like a huge amount of your energy. And the mistrust is also there, and it's unconscious because the person, when you don't attend to their feelings, they wouldn't tell, oh, you didn't notice that I was angry, so now I mistrust you, now I don't trust you. It never happens. Like, no one is conscious about that. If they're conscious, it goes another way. I will come to you, or I will find other ways to make sure I either trust you or we have a disconnection. Like it's totally different. But unconscious mistrust is sometimes there, because obviously, as Evgeny in the first row told us, sometimes there are people who are hugely emotional but still behaving like adults, like we would love them to, right? But if they are met with not the proper response from others, they have this unconscious mistrust. So there is no visible conflict, but still some kind of resentment. Yeah.
In terms of mistrust, might not be the following case. For example, if I see that you have this passion, you are arguing with me, you are toxic, but still I see your passion.
Yep.
Wouldn't I trust you because I see at least your passion, that you care about what you are doing? So it might help to build this trust in such a toxic way.
I really didn't get the connection that you did there. I'm saying that mistrust happens when I am passionate and toxic, and I'm giving you like the reaction like this, and you in return would say, well, we've talked about this. What is there to discuss? We all agreed that there are some risks, and why are you bringing it up now? I don't get it. So yeah, thank you for the question. This is actually very relevant, because I guess like it's not always as clear for like others as I have it in my head. Such a shame for me. Okay, so basically, one other problem with all of this is that you can't have only good without the bad, right? Like always, if you have passion, if you have energy, if you have motivation, you will have downs. You will have disassociation. You will have like, fuck this shit and stuff like this. This is how like burning people, like they're burning with passion, they eventually burn out if they don't have the fuel, and their fuel is sometimes your connection. And this is like the good thing to fuel them, because if like it's a good thing to fuel them in this way if you have your own way to refuel yourself. Sorry, this is a bit off topic, but still. So the thing is, obviously, if you tell them that emotions are not here, like we don't do emotions in the workplace, you will have emotionless robots, and emotionless robots don't do such well job if they are not ChatGPT, and they are definitely not. Or what? Okay, so yeah. This is actually a very interesting case, because this is the way where they work to death. So yeah, they are working until they are like actually dead. This is not a good topic. Yes. Okay, so with all the things that we know now, how about we handle another case? So you had brainstorm, you were discussing ideas, it was all cool and well, and somebody obviously came really invested in their idea. They were like arguing and like making their case and talking, and they were really close. But in the end, when you had two good options, you decided to go with another one, maybe even a little bit because of how invested they were. But that's another topic. Anyway, the person behind the idea that didn't make it, they were like, well, why do I even bother? Who would like to talk to me? Sure.
I feel you are frustrated, but we have like a mechanism to choose that because they must for us equal, and random can be like sometimes like this.
Yeah, the thing is, I wouldn't even go there. First, yes, thank you for the example of how it can be done, and it immediately gives you like a benefit of like a boost of connection between us, because I see that you see that I'm frustrated. What I would do better is to take out the but, because like, have you heard of a shitty burger? Yeah, so but is a huge part of a shitty burger. Just a little side note. So the thing about shitty burger is that you say, wow, you're so great, it's so cool, but we need to make some changes, and here's the list of changes we need to make. This completely changes the whole set of whatever you did, and you realize that the initial reaction was garbage, because like the person wanted actually to give you the whole list of changes, and they just didn't want you to be disappointed by how many changes there were. And there was actually an experiment, and I'm still searching for this article because I heard it, like I found it in an article, and then I did an experiment with one of my clients and gave exactly the same results. So I really want this article to be found, but but no time. So what they did is that they went into the company where burger feedback was a thing, and everyone was doing burger feedback. And they asked the managers to do only the first part, to only do the positive feedback. And it goes a little bit like this. Oh, hey, Karen, this is so cool. You gave us such a great presentation. So nice, so beautiful, well laid. Like, your English was perfect. Like, congrats. And Karen was like, yeah, so what you actually wanted to tell me? Like, what was it that you wanted to tell me? Like, because it obviously wasn't like, heads up, great job. You want something from me. I know it from experience, because before that, this would also end up with like, here is the list of changes you need to do for your next presentation. And the thing is, like, if you do the good part and the bad part and the good part again, everyone knows that you only did the good part for the bad part. So taking that out, excellent, thank you. And one important thing, if you say like, I know you're frustrated, yeah, right? Yes, okay. So this is fine because you're just observing. If you said, I would be also frustrated, if you said, here you can say, I'm also frustrated, we couldn't go on with your idea, right? But it's not the better case, because you're obviously not frustrated. Like, maybe the only way I'm also disappointed we can't pick every single idea. Like, I don't like it that we can't do both. This might be another way, but if you don't have the same feeling, don't do it. Like, since we're building trust, it definitely needs to be very genuine. Like, if it's not a genuine feeling, don't do it. Better make an observation or like something else. Okay, so this was just something else. Oh, anyone wants to have a different reaction? Or otherwise, I will think that I gave you like a best answer possible, and like there are no arguments about this. Empathy is the way, right? Oh, really? This is so cool. A little bit of like what I just said about different cases. I really like to talk about limitations of each instrument. So the limitations of using this labeling emotion stuff is the context you're in. As I told you, if we feel the same emotions, you can do it stronger and better by saying that you also have the same emotion. Like, yes, I'm also frustrated. I'm frustrated too, like something like that, to show that you also a person also having feelings, and you also having feelings on the same exact topic. In a way, like, if sometimes we don't have this exact feeling, but we can imagine it. We can understand that in your shoes, I would also be frustrated. So this is also a way to go. For example, if you know that someone worked their ass off and you didn't, and you see that they are frustrated, you can say, okay, I'm calm now. You can say it to yourself, right? I'm calm now, but I know that if I were to get my ass busted for this one, like if I were so invested and so motivated to do this project, and then it was a huge bust, I would be like very disappointed. So this is what you would say. I would be so furious if I didn't get the promotion, if I didn't get the result I was working for. This is gold. Like, I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many hours of constant arguing I saved with this one. And sometimes, as I told you, we can't even share. These are the cases where you're talking to someone who is experiencing something you never were able to experience. For example, sexism, racism, like huge stuff. Or the stuff you don't feel you can share your own emotions. For example, there was a very difficult case where in the middle of a work discussion, we realized that a person was dealing with trauma, like a person died in their family. And the best way is say, I can't even imagine how difficult it is for you. Like, I understand that it is, I see that it is, but I can't imagine how horrible, how difficult, how sad it is for you. Like, and then you probably, with this case, the cool thing is that sometimes you see, as soon as you hear these words, the whole idea behind your next action changes. Before that, you wanted to say like, well, it's in the past, let's move on. But when you actually show empathy, you would want to do something else. You would want to say, well, I'm so frustrated as you are. I'm so frustrated. So probably we need a better process. Yes, let's talk about this later. Okay, so two questions might be rising in your heads. The first is that I was so toxic, but I was so open, right? You could see that I'm frustrated and like something is bad. And in other ways, there is a problem that I'm not going to share it. I have all these feelings building like inside, but I'm not going to share. And will go on with me having these kind of burnout, push down feelings that go out with passive aggressiveness. And again, this is a good case. Passive aggressiveness is a good case because you can see that it's some kind of aggression, even if though it's passive. But if I'm not saying anything and then like in a month or so, I found another job and I quit, yeah, this is the case actually. Like lots of my clients went through and they was like, oh, so I should have talked about it. And I'm like, yeah, you should have, but I know that it's difficult because sometimes we get the reaction that's too difficult for us. Like I'm already upset and you like going on and on how it was the shared responsibility and should have told before. And I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna even go there. Like fuck it. Yeah, so non-confrontational and have it here like cultures. And yes, there are different things in the cultures that's like some cultures are less confrontational than others, but all of your questions were not related to cultures. All of your questions were related to contexts. And this is like what I share, and I told you that it's going to be a twist. We're not going to talk about how American culture is different from Eastern European and West European and like Indians and stuff like this. It's going to be about each person individually, recognizing that there might be some patterns. And patterns are from culture, from different, like even industries, right? Because there are sometimes like industry, the like IT industry is very different from the industry of, I don't know, heavy metal or something like that. Well, not heavy metal like music, but actually there is also difference there because music industry is definitely very different from IT industry, and medicine would be different. Like, I mean, you get the picture, right? So, what would we do here? And yes, I have another case for you. Let's imagine you have like some good things developing in your team, in your projects, and so on. Like your product is growing, your company is growing, and you see that you have some like extra space in the workload of your team, and you want to give new opportunities for them to grow. So you would like to give someone in your team a new responsibility. Yes, this is going to be tricky, maybe like it needs some work. So it's actually your responsibility, not some gift handed out, and you know it. But how would you ask me to take on this responsibility? Okay. Yep.
It highly depends on the person. If I know what motivates this person, I could provide this. If, for example, this person wants to build a strong career, I could talk about.
Let's role play. Yep.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, see the difference. Like, this is why I like the case scenarios, because like we always have an answer for everything when it's hypothetical. But when you're faced with a person, it's like, oh yeah, thank you. Yep.
Yeah. So soon we will be launching a new very interesting sub-project in our company, and in order to launch, we have to start publishing some posts in social media stories. So you are close to marketing department, and therefore I think it might be a really good opportunity for you in the future to lead this direction. For now, we have several tasks, and we don't have a person who might be responsible for these actions. So, and I was under impression that it might be interesting for you, and therefore I would like to offer you this activity.
I waited out to see how you would end your part, and I reserve my feedback for now to hear more. Thank you. So I try to I will try to remember exactly what you said. I have some interesting points there. Anyone else has a different kind of approach? Okay. Yep.
Hey, Alexandra, you talked about your career recently and shared with me that you want to grow
Okay. Yep.
as a lead. And actually, we have a new activity in our company.
Yes, something. Okay, yeah, thank you. I really like that. Anything else? Like, do you think this is the best way? Yep.
Alexandra, how are you feeling today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
You're feeling good because I hope that I have exciting news for you. We were thinking about launching a new project, and based on all of your work that you've done, I think you will be a perfect fit. Of course, it means more responsibilities for you, but also a lot of more interesting projects and growth and new people. And I think that you would fit perfectly to this thing. So if you feel comfortable with this, we would love to start tomorrow.
Okay, something different. Okay, yep.
Alexandra, how are you doing? How do you feel about your tasks that you're doing right now? Do you feel, what is your workload right now? How do you feel about that?
Vice versa, I'm telling you that yeah, I kind of like yeah, I'm trying to do all of this, but yeah, that is good. I feel like I'm managing everything.
Do you think you might want to take some new additional stuff that might be interesting for you? What do you think about that?
Let's stop here, and I will summarize everything that you did. So I see that you immediately like took on the role of someone who wants to like make me better and like give me well, not a gift, but something that's cool and shiny, like I would like to appreciate, right? And now remember how you actually always like what's your top one reaction when someone gives you a gift from the top of their heart. Could you ever refuse? Even if you wanted to. Yep, that's the problem. This is why I really like the part where you did something like, do you feel if you're comfortable? That was like a little bit here that helps me to remember, right? If you're comfortable, like, oh, so I immediately start like thinking if I am actually comfortable. First, yeah, so we can do better, but this is already good. You asked me first about my workload, but then about like something else. Also, on one hand, it's cool that you, like everyone who asked some questions, this is really good because, or was building on something that they heard before. This is obviously good because like it shows me that you were attentive and like you were building, that you were doing it for me. But at the same time, it traps me. Because we were just talking about non-confrontational cultures. And if I just gave you the answer that, yes, I'm managing, this is so cool, you would be like, nice, so here's something more for you. And I can't refuse, like, it's easier for me to refuse when I have some kind of an actual argument. But you, like, already left me with no argument. Oh, I'm so swamped with tasks. I would love to, but I couldn't. This is already out of my scope. I can't do this. So I might feel trapped. Again, we're not talking about every employee, but sometimes non-confrontational people, not cultures people, yeah, they tend to do it this way. So what's the better way? Again, I'm saying that this is good. I really see that you want to help me and want to do it in the way that benefits both me and the company and you, like everyone. But still, since we're talking about non-confrontational, and it would be very difficult to me, again, also, if you want to go deeper, you might think about like, oh, what would my manager think if yesterday I told you that I want like new opportunities and stuff, and now she gives me this kind of opportunities and I don't want them. What the fuck I am doing now? And like, oh, like what if this conversation never happened and out of the blue you just see me perfectly fit for this role, right? And like instead of and we are now like talking about it and you want to offer it to me and I'm like, oh, could I refuse? Like, how would I look to you as my manager if I'm refusing a nice shiny thing that benefits my career, benefits a company, and should be good for me? How can I refuse that? So the answer to like mitigating this problem is very simple. Honestly, this is like very simple. When I found out about this method, I was like literally, oh my God, this is so cool. Because the first one, like this is 3. and we'll go through all of them. The first one is just the right to refuse. The thing is, like, I really love honesty in my communication. I really love clarity in my communication. And sometimes I even go overboard with the clarity, but this is not overboard, trust me. In my company, there are a lot of younger employees than me. They're like decade younger. And sometimes they look up on me, which, like, well, is flattering, but sometimes I don't want them, want this to cloud their judgment. So sometimes they are like better marketers, better SMM managers, better programmers, better stuff. But if I say something very like, yes, you can do this, sometimes it's difficult for them to refuse because, well, I'm so cool. But still. So I have to remind them that, A, they have the right to refuse. So, yeah.
I see a passive aggression in the first sentence. Like if you are not able to help, it sounds like you are
Not able. Okay, I see. So this is a general principle. If you see some problems with that, you're free to like tackle it in your way. Because for me, not able means both don't want to and for some reason can't to. For me. But like, and I know that in my context, in my team, this would be exactly what I mean. But if you think that, yes, the better, actually, in the case that I showed you, the better way would be like, if you don't want to or can't for some reason, that's okay to refuse. I think I just wanted to, you know, to squeeze it into the box for you to see. So yeah, so this would be like the best way. Like if you don't want to or for some reason can't and like don't want to go through with it, that's totally okay. The next one is the right for emotions. We just talked about emotions, so I hope you understand how important that is. And this is for the cases where you are anticipating the exact conflict we just like saw, right? Like a couple of those. And at the same time, this might be the case where you have, like, you need a person, for example, to do a task, and you can't give them the right to refuse. Like this is like the next one. Like if I can refuse, I would. If I can give them the right to refuse, I will definitely do that. But if I can't, I'm at least understanding that it's not ideal. That you don't like it. That's something like that. So if I were you, I would be angry, frustrated. Like even bot here is okay because like it would be a very sympathetic bot. Like if I were you, I was very frustrated. I'm sorry that we have to do it this way, but we have to. Like I trust you will do this. No, not trust. This is actually not a good word. I promise you that we'll deal with something that what I imagine here is like, yes, there's some kind of a situation, some kind of a problem we have to deal with now. I know that it interferes with your personal time, for example. I know that you would be frustrated. If I were you, I would be very angry about this. I promise you we'll deal with like the consequences. We'll give you a day off or something like that. Like, let's talk about this. Please, let's deal with the situation. This, like, again, takes out lots of resentment in the problems. I see, like, you want to ask something? No? Okay, this is your interested face. Cool, okay. Perfect. The right for boundaries. So we're going to talk about boundaries a little more later. And this is like the beginning of the same talk. I myself, like personally, I am very passionate about communication. This is a bit tricky because, like, I'm passionate about communication because I see the way we communicate in our company, the way to have less communication. Well, it's a difficult thing. Basically, if you talk to me, eventually it comes down to communication. And I know that sometimes it's not interesting for all the people in the world. So I know to pace myself and sometimes it's very interesting for people. So my answer is to this problem is that if you prefer not to do this, if you prefer not to discuss it, not to answer my question, this is like, sure, let's do this. Like I have no problem to switch to another topic. Sometimes, for example, if you have like product managers do a lot of interviews, right? And sometimes you have to ask deep questions like your beliefs, your habits, maybe your income level, which is uncomfortable for some people. And this is like the coolest thing you could do. And it again, as the same as the feelings, this reminds people about the right to refuse, the right to boundaries, the right to stuff. And when you say these specific things out loud, this reduces, for a person, this reduces the risks of you behaving irrationally when they actually refuse, say to you that they are frustrated, or say, I'm sorry, this is personal, I'm not going to discuss it. So when I think about saying this to a new person to me, I know that it can go both ways. One is, oh yeah, sure, we can leave it. And the other one, well, you're closed off, aren't you? And I would be like ashamed about it, and it's not ideal for me. So let's go on. So basically, if we go back to this case, it would be cool. Like, yes, you can sell it. Like, obviously, you want to sell it. You want to say, "Hey, this is a new opportunity. Hey, I think it would be good for you. Hey, I think you're a perfect fit." But at the same time, this is what I'm thinking. You have absolutely the right to refuse. So yeah, this is about that. Just a little bit about like respecting others' boundaries. So this is what, when you're dealing with a person and you are a little bit unsure on whether or not they will tell you something is going on. And controversially, the same thing prompts people to tell you more. So the thing is, when you first start to talk to a person, to like get to know the team, and you use these kind of principles, and you go like stand your ground, like if you said that you have a right to refuse and the person refuses, you're like, sure, let's move on. We do it another way. And if you don't, like, oh yeah, I told you that you absolutely can, but, and here we go, right? So consequences or stuff like this. But if you hold your ground, if you actually honest as your word, it increases trust because, again, this is empathy. It lowers the risk of not being informed of something that is going on, because now I know that even though I give you some piece of news that it's not ideal for you, you will behave more rationally, more safe for me, more like easier for me, right? I don't have to. Sometimes my like there was a very dear case to me, like just recently. We were discussing the strategy, and I really like the strategy for like how we will go about our launch next year. And one of my marketers, she came to me and she actually, in front of everyone, she said, "Listen, I don't like it." And I'm like, okay. And she was, "Yeah, guys, I'm really sorry. I can't say what frustrates me so much about this plan. I really don't like it. I can't say what I really want some time to go deeper into details. I can do it by myself. I really don't have an answer for you now, but really don't like it." And the fact that she was able in actual meeting to say this, like the guts, and I know that she wasn't, before that, she wasn't a very hands-on person. So it is not exactly like her. I really loved the fact that I was able to create this kind of atmosphere. And the fact is, later, like exactly this day, she came with a very valid points that she couldn't formulate before. And I know that we sort of gave her the courage to say that, yeah, something is smelling not right, and give me time, and we respected her right. And also, in this case, I was able to give her this time. I also know that in some cases I would have to say, I'm sorry, I absolutely respect what problems you have, and unfortunately there is not enough information for now. So if you later on understand what was the problem bugging you, come to me, let's talk about this problem, and we'll deal with it as it comes. So it doesn't give me the necessity. It's not necessary. I have to uphold, if someone is feeling unwell, we'll immediately give him home. So sometimes, obviously, the risks of empathy for if you think about it, it will be exploited. I will be used. So they'll see it as a way to get easier load for me. This is not the case, and we'll talk about this later, and this is very closely related to boundaries. So yeah, we talked about this, and well, at this point I want to talk more about you, but let's start with how you're feeling. Maybe there are some questions, or you want to share some comments or stuff. Maybe you've thought of actual cases you want to consider more. How is it going? Yep.
I know that some managers have like README files when they join new teams, and where they write those things like, if you don't want to talk about something, just like always feel free to just tell it, or like, I'm always approachable, come to me
Yep.
anytime, etc. So my question is about this practice. So because there are people who like it and people who think like it's strange. So what do you think? Is it a good thing that managers
Like me instruction, like how to handle me, right, as a manager, how to talk to me as a manager. I would even I saw even cases where it was one step further, actual me instruction. So a person joins the team and the team asks them to actually have a me instruction, like please don't contact me in like outside of the general time, if it's not an emergency, or feel free to ask me questions, I'll revise them in my free time and then like come back to you later, or like please don't call me, or call me if there is something important, stuff like that. I feel that it's very beneficial. I know that for some people it might be strange, especially when I'm not sure how I feel like about calls after work and stuff like this. So the idea is I always about clarity, and if it's okay for everyone to have this kind of clarity, sure. But if you are so attentive to the needs of others, I would say I might have to reserve the right, like not to give you my instruction file, because I don't know how I want to behave in this kind of a team. So as an idea, cool, but it should definitely be flexible. It's actually one more example of like the right reviews, and it's so funny that sometimes, like even when I'm giving this to you guys and to other stuff, I still sometimes forget about the same things. And it was so fun when I was giving a talk about basically the same things, and there was also the right reviews, the right emotions, and stuff like this. And then I was asked a question. And the question was a little bit, well, something different between too difficult to discuss and too personal to discuss. And I was like, I was in the, in the moment, I was like, oh, well, yeah, well, and someone from the audience, he said, yeah, you might, like, you can choose to not answer this question, or you can choose to not answer this question right now. And I was like, right, thank you. And then this was a cool moment, because like I love when we can see the same things in the moment, just right now, because you had this question that I gave you like time to, give it now. And I think it's really cool. So anything else? Oh, wow, see, this is so cool, yes. Well, in the eyes of another person, definitely. Sometimes, like, I mostly, if is it the feeling that you get, like, give me some context, please.
I'm just trying to understand, like, maybe when I'm trying to solve a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and when do I stop?
Okay, yeah, now I see. So the thing is, exactly, so the first principle is that there might not be enough to do it just once. So, for example, a person like is very like invested and deeply. Yes, you're frustrated. Yes, I'm frustrated. You're also angry. Yes, I'm also angry. And you see that it goes like down, and now it's a rational person you can like have negotiation with, for example. But sometimes, and we'll definitely talk about this later, it can be seen as a sign of weakness. Like if you like empathic enough for me, like maybe I can exploit that. But this is not the problem of being too empathetic. This is a problem of not knowing where empathy is in the way of your authority within the team, and when you are exploited and your boundaries are already like broken or violated or stuff like that. So I think this exact question might be answered by this. So let's roll back, like circle back after this part. You had a question? Could you please speak out a little bit? No. I mean, speak up with the volume. Yes.
So you talked about resolving conflicts
Yep.
from managerial positions.
Oh yeah.
What the other person would do, because the one that gets demotivated and
Mm-hmm.
passive aggressive and don't want to talk about it unless people come to them.
So does it work if you're not in a managerial position, right? And if you're talking to your manager, I think. Yeah. Oh yeah. Right, right. So this is actually something that we also discussed like before the workshop. Someone told me, yeah, if you're a position of a manager, you can do a lot of cool stuff to resolve conflicts and like you're free to do this. And I'm like, it doesn't work like this. If you're always, well, that's like, I don't like it. If you're always a mummy, they will come to you like a mummy and like you will be caught up in all their drama and conflicts and stuff. So I'm like a huge advocate of anyone being able to use these instruments in like your conversations. From my point of view as a manager, it's much better that you, in like being my employee, being a member of my team, are able to use the same techniques to another member of your team, or even to me. That happened to me actually, like not once. This is what I was going on, and how like I don't like whatever is going on. It's like, have you eaten? Like, are you okay? Like, have you slept? Like, how? I see that you're frustrated. Like, what's the reason? And I was like, oh yeah, guys, I actually do think I'm a little bit too invested right now. So let's like pedal the discussion. So not every manager would be thankful that you apply it to them, but in the case of employees, definitely 100% works, and clients and stuff like this. And if it doesn't work, there's usually another like reason for that. So not that. I see that there might be cases where it's getting out of your, like stepping out of your place, like not in your place, but most of the time it's about boundaries, like how if you respectable enough about others' boundaries, it shouldn't be a problem like this. This is the like the best answer I think I can give you. Yes?
I have the opposite question. So, I mean, it's a good thing to be empathetic. However, for a manager, it requires extra resources, extra capacity to keep this empathy for a long time. And managers are, I think that's the most stressful work ever. So it means that we have to do all this stuff, plus we have to be empathetic. Isn't it too much for a simple manager?
Thank you so much. This is a question that's always left like in someone's mind. This is like all this good and all, but I don't have the resources for that. This actually goes another way. So as I told you, like first, yes, you definitely have to like put extra effort to this and be extra attentive. But first, yes, yeah. But here is a storytelling point. So this is like I'm good. I mean, this is like I understand where you're coming from. Yes, it's extra effort. The reason this is extra effort is because you're investing in the future. In the future means that you're building the same amount of trust where a person is able to come to you sooner with their frustration and problems and feedback. And for example, this exact person that was at the beginning, like you were voicing concerns, everyone was voicing concerns, and for example, they actually didn't voice their concern, and then were blaming you for not listening to them, blah blah blah. But if you're creating a more trustworthy environment, it would reduce the chance of them not voicing their concern. So you would hear about it earlier, and you would not have this kind of discussion. So you invest in this, you show how you can be empathetic, and you have less cases where you have to be empathetic. See the connection?
Yeah, but again, as for every situations we have considered, it highly depends on the circumstances. Because, for example, if let's say we take a company for which people work for let's say 1 year, shall I care about that? They will live in like 1 year. Okay, I will build a trustful team.
This is why they work here for just 1 year and then they leave. No, I mean, this is exactly answering your question. So in a company where a manager invests in a safer, more trustworthy, empathetic environment, there are less burnouts and people are less likely to leave. So like it's the closed circle. You invest in them, they are...
You base your argument on the premise that there is a connection between trustful team and burnout, where I don't know whether there is a connection.
There is. Let me show you like the short road. So we... Oh no, he's a horrible example. Like a... So, okay, this is exactly an argument that I always have with managers. This is like, I'm a good leader because, and I'm like, not. No. You might be a good innovator, a good visionist, a good in strategy person, and people join you because of that. But it doesn't mean they trust you. They might trust your vision, but they might not trust you as a person to talk about the problem.
We are not talking about person. We are talking about companies.
The whole topic is about person.
A good job with Steve Jobs as well as Tesla and SpaceX with Elon Musk.
Okay, so once again, disclaimer: I'm not able to create leaders out of nothing. Like there is rarely a place or like a project where your only job is to communicate. Obviously, you have some other responsibilities, and the things that I'm talking about, this is reducing the time to communicate with the other people in your team to give you more time on these responsibilities. And at the beginning, it means more work. Like you have to build a good foundation to be able to rely on this. And this exactly means that if I create, like even in the case where my team is like short-term team, for example, like, you go through the stages and you know that the project is only like 4 to 3 months, and it's not enough time to like create a team that well works together. But at the same time, it is because like with the things that I'm talking about, I know that we can reduce the time to share. Like I know your boundaries before because I already told you, like if you don't want to talk about this, you might not talk. And I remember this information. You don't want to talk about that stuff. Like if you don't want to do this, you can refuse. Yes, okay, you refused. I know this information and it's easier for me. I gave you, like I asked you to create an instruction file and I can look through it. Oh, okay, so I don't want to talk to her now. I would like to talk to her before, like, or like later or earlier, because yes, like this is what would be the optimal time to work with her, to talk to her, at least stuff like this. And this creates less negative emotions, less necessity for me to like invest again these things and burn out myself while dealing with lots of conflicts. The thing is, the problem is, while we were going on and on with the cases, like the first case, you gave me lots of answers. This actually was like the more energy was necessary for you and for me to invest in the same conversation. If like we go back and only use like, yeah, I guess you were frustrated. I also was frustrated that it didn't work. We just reduced the amount of energy of you and me, like for 10 times, I think. We can talk about this later more because, like, yeah, it's a very deep question. I don't think I even able to like go like, shoo, yes, there is a connection. So that's fine. Okay, so where were we? Yeah. So how about we talk about your boundaries? This is exactly what you were looking for. Aren't I too empathetic, going too much into like sharing about like feelings with other people, not focusing on what we are to achieve, not focusing on me as a leader, on my like status, on what's going on. And yeah, this is like a sort of a modulation of how this case might work on if a person either has too much going on, and like basically sometimes this is what happens when a person is not ready to like say that, yes, I am frustrated, this is what I said, like, yes, I am toxic when I'm frustrated, or yes, I said it because I'm frustrated and I wasn't exactly right. So not like don't want to admit their mistake also. Who in the world could have predicted that? Oh yeah, you are disappointed that the strategy didn't work. I'm also disappointed. Like this is a bummer. Like, yeah, I'm disappointed with the way you handled the discussion and the brainstorm. This is all your fault. Yeah, like this. How about next time? You be better prepared with the ideas and the research that we want to discuss. Yeah, very very like lifelike, I guess. Seen? Have you seen this? Like, I'm interested in like working on. Yeah, some person. Some people have seen this and some haven't. So in this case, we would reserve to like non-confrontational. But here we have this confrontational. And what would you do next? Agree. Wow, love it. Okay, so you tried to use empathy, and I told you, yes, this, like, I am disappointed, but it is all your fault. And you're like, yeah, I agree, right? How's your leadership status right now in the team? Okay. So you want to give more work to me, right? Oh, thank you. So now again it is teamwork. Right, right. Who would pay me for this teamwork? Oh, you think we're making enough to do this all of this extra work, right? Yeah, perfect. So you're as naive as you are bad at handling this discussion, right? Yeah, I understand. This might not be said. This 100%. This is too open a conflict to be said. But like you see where it goes. So I'm saying what shouldn't be said, what wouldn't be said, but the impression stays. If you meet this, if you leave this discussion, even if you say so whatever you just said, so basically still my status as a leader who is motivating people and who is good, like a great leader, and yeah, it's okay to like do some mistakes, but well, let's remember that this was also not cool, right? We totally forgot that the first thing was like, yeah, there's a toxic person, and in the end we're agreeing. What the fuck? I'm sorry, something is not right here. So how are you? Really, because HR would definitely approve of firing after one conversation, right? Really? You have.
Person behaves at least once in such a way, it will behave another way in the same manner. So two cases.
I would really love to see how this conversation goes with HR. Like really, how like what would be the basis? Yeah, we'll go back to that. Yeah. That's interesting. So imagine this is exactly what you were talking about, right? So empathy, and you're saying that it's not enough empathy. Okay, I'm confused here. Let's role play. Who in the world could have predicted that? Let's. Well, finally you saw my disappointment. Thank God we have such a great manager. How about next time you like think through all of this and come prepared with research? What do you do? Oh, poor you. That wasn't empathy, by the way, from you. That the last part wasn't empathy. No, you're defending your case. You're defending your case, and empathy is not about defending. When like here the person is hurt, so you asking them, even though they already don't have enough, like they have enough, they are already not well, and you asking them to show empathy to you. That's not an ideal situation. It just, I understand why you want to do this, but I haven't seen cases where this works. Like, yeah, sometimes a heated discussion from both sides is like, oh, wow, I didn't think that through. Yes, but it's still not exactly the best way to build trust, because like you only basically showing that you're not the one who is like in the worst case scenario. I'm the one, like you should pity me and show, like it's not a leadership position, I would say. This is the best, I guess, the best explanation, not a leadership position. And how are you feeling about your leadership position here? What triggers you? What you don't like? Yep. I'm sorry, to do what? Okay, yeah, it's, oh, finally you saw the conflict. Yeah, let's do it. So what's next?
So, what do you think about having a conflict? Do you think it's like a healthy thing to do or not? Like, how do you feel at the moment about the fact that we have a
Well,
conflict?
how else can I show you the problem that is going on right under your nose?
That's an important thing. So you see a problem and you share that with me, and this is very important to me. So now,
Oh, I don't see so that is important. I'm showing you the problem. I ask you, I give you the clear instruction. Like I actually think that we benefit from preparing with the research, and that you do your job better than now. And you're saying that it's a conflict, so I shouldn't give you open feedback,
you
or
have
what?
you have some expectations towards me, and you want to share.
Oh,
those
I
expectations,
shouldn't have expectations toward my manager.
You should, yes, please share your expectations with me so I can.
how's your leadership going now? Like, how's your leadership status going? What do you think, like, about other members of the team looking at this whole situation, and how motivated are they, and what they see as the consequences for your team and for the effectiveness of your team?
It depends.
Yeah, the problem is that some are definitely on your side. They're like, oh, this is a toxic person, we should fire him. But some are not. And also, they imagine that there were actually problems. It is a normal situation when you have problems in a startup, when you have problems even in a very well organized company, and it's still not a good way to approach the situation from this person, I would say. So this, yeah, we tried that. Empathy, we tried that. But I would say, so I'm just giving you a little bit of a hint, I would say this is already a violation of my boundaries. Okay, this was also, but here I had a hypothesis that this person was too frustrated, they had too much going on, they were too much in pain to realize that. That's why I used empathy, even though this already was a violation of my boundary as a leader, as someone like just a regular person who had a contract with the team that we are going this way, and now someone is undermining that. Yes, I already tried the empathy, and now sort of I kind of want something else. And this is okay. Like, you also might want to try empathy again if you want to. This is what we talked about, right? You could say, yeah, I see like you're still very frustrated with the way we do things. I can go on. And maybe this works. But let's imagine, I think that this is already going too far, and I'm like not want to play the good manager. So the thing that I'm like really interested in doing is to set up my boundaries and to show that they are really violated. Have you ever heard of nonviolent communication, sorry? Rosenberg. Yep. So this is partially, I would recommend reading this book, but with caution. I would recommend it with caution because some ideas there are not exactly applicable for management, even though Rosenberg himself says that, yeah, this is the best framework ever. Nothing is the best framework ever. So basically, the idea here is exactly the same as in cognitive behavioral therapy. Yes, I think there's something like this. So we have a situation that causes pain to like some parties, right? Not ideal situation. So I would like to have different parts of the situation. My emotions about the situations, something that was said and done exactly, like you always late, not the observation. You weren't on time 3 times. You were undermining my authority, not an observation. You said that I'm you asked me, you said that no one could have predicted that. That's an observation because this was actually said. Then we go through needs, like what actually was violated, what principles that I deem necessary for my team to function properly were violated. For example, I do value each teammate's input, or I do value honesty. I actually think that empathy is important, but at the same time, what example would I give you? I would say that my feelings are important and your feelings are important, and these are like 2 different areas. So what I'm saying is, I guess, boundaries are important. And this is actually a need. I want you to not go too far, like blaming me, for example. And there is a request, right? So what I want you to do about the situation. This is like a standard formula. And Rosenberg wants us to use it everywhere. I do not agree. But the things that are here, like individually, these are good because it helps you to sort of analyze the situation. This is very good even to do inside your head. Like, something is not right here. I'm disappointed. I'm hurt. I'm disgusted by this. Even sometimes, you can have different feelings. What led to this? I feel like I'm disappointed because somebody said something, and these were the exact words, and I feel that these undermines the principle that I have. And here's what I want to do about it. So The important part here is to be very specific, like to go a little bit deeper, and sometimes it needs a lot of energy from you, especially at the beginning, to know what was the problem in the first place. So was it him undermining my authority, and what it means for me? What exactly, in his words, undermined my authority? What wasn't right? So what were the facts, what was the words, and what should have been working differently? How, like, if we do the situation over again, how would I like it to play out in order for me to hear the other person, but still, like, do not have this uncomfortable situation with my boundaries? And here, I'll just a little bit fast forwarding, just a little bit, because I want to know the time. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. A little bit of ahead, I will ask you now to give examples, but beware of these mistakes, right? So we already talked about conclusions, like you're lazy because you were like, you didn't meet your deadline. You didn't meet your deadline that we agreed upon? Yes. You're lazy because you didn't agree upon meet the deadline? No. Like you're lazy because you get up and go to your home to your kids at 6 p.m. sharp? No, you are very considerate and like you're meeting the exact time set and we expect more. But for some cultures, okay. And actually the you message is always not the ideal way, or almost always not the ideal way to go, because it prompts you to have more conclusions and a person, well, takes it very personally. Like, you don't respect the team. You don't do your part. You are undermining my authority. The you part is very important. This is why I ask you to talk about your feelings. Like, it's not you made me angry. It's I am angry. And that's okay that I'm angry. Who knows how many childhood traumas I had about exactly the same argument. Like, it's my problem, but I'm sharing it with you. And the last one is otherwise. This is, at some point, this became very popular. Imagine this, like I'm saying to you, listen, I was very disappointed that you weren't on time 3 times this week. Because I value everyone's input and I really want you to be there. Could you please adjust your schedule? Otherwise, we fire you. Does it work well with the trust that we were talking about? No. So sometimes you have to show the otherwise, but it's not going to be a request then. You might say, sorry, if we're not meeting this deadline, no one gets their money if that's the way we're working, right? If it's a shared contract. So I have to remind about this, but not in the form of a request. So how about, how about someone tries to work with that? Would you like to? Would you like to? Yeah, actually, the thing is, let's think about it. Let's think that this is not the one case scenario, and this is going on for some time, and we are already thinking about firing this person. I'm still advising you to set up your boundary, because this is the conversation that you know is going to fire this person, because this is not a good behavior. But the other team doesn't exactly know what's wrong here. They don't know what's the problem. They see that you refused to be better prepared with research. They see that you didn't predict like something, that they see that you're not a worthy leader, and like the motivation of the whole team goes like, yeah, and then when they gave honest feedback, well, they were disappointed. Well, you have to get your feedback. Like, thank you that they gave any feedback, and they were fired for feedback. That is a horrible situation for the team. Yep.
Too many premises. I mean, of course, you have to communicate to the team when you fire somebody. Why do you fire? What is the reason? And all your attempts to deal with this situation. Yeah, that's a normal behavior. So it won't be like I'm just firing because we had just to argue once.
Have you been to a scenario where there is like something happened, we fired someone, and then we're very carefully, very beautifully show them, you know, guys, there was just a little bit of misunderstanding. Do you believe it?
I was in such situation multiple times, yes. So that's very smooth.
You can see the skeptical faces around you to see that's not a smooth transition. Not everyone believes that. And you, again, if you do not deal with this situation in a specific way, in the right time, not specifically right now. I'm not saying that it should be like right in this exact moment. If you don't feel comfortable now, you can say, you know what, let's spark this discussion. Yeah, I'm not recommending this because if you can act now, it would be best for like, otherwise there will be like different, what's going on? Was it really a very good idea? So on and so on. And obviously you can fire the person if you understand, but when you fire the person, you definitely have to show them why are you firing them. So tell me this, why do you want to fire this person? What was wrong?
In this particular situation,
Yes.
together with your comments when we were talking much more. So the situation happened a few times. If you have the same story, if you do not accept arguments and are behaving irrationally.
Do you want me to tell? I'm this person, and you're saying this to me. So you're firing me because I don't want you don't want me to see your side of the argument.
There are formal rules how should be communicated.
Oh, you're relying on formal rules to fire me. That's a great leadership move.
Why not? In such a situation, when you deal with emotions, you have to ground yourself on something, and formal rules are really good for grounding.
Somehow psychologists, the people that have psychological background, are the most difficult in these scenarios. Like, and I'm like, why? But I do understand. Yep. Sorry. First, there was the first. Yeah. Okay.
I will try to.
Yep.
So, personally, I'm really disappointed with what's happening right now. Okay.
Mhm.
And given the conversations we had previously, like recently, right, with your disappointment and how you express your disappointment about the project, I feel like you're trying to distance yourself from the actions that we committed together to, right? And that's not what I would like to build within our team, and that makes me feel like you really do not contribute to the emotional atmosphere in the team. That's something you might want to work on.
How do you feel about this? Like, the words like disappointment. This is what I heard. This was not the like. I would not say it was bad. I definitely see room for improvement. What would you do differently? You message. Well, it wasn't exactly you message. I didn't say you undermine. Sorry, Dmitry didn't say you undermined me. You didn't. He said I feel that you do this, and this is much better. Actually, this is a part that I wanted to tell you. This is because this is a neat hack. I'm saying this like an I feeling because see. So here's the judgment. You don't care. You are distancing yourself. You're a bad person. Everything like this. On the other hand, there is a fact. You didn't meet the deadline. And sometimes, like, in order to go from the fact to the actual conclusion, you need something. And it's much better to show the problem, but try to not give a judgment. And my feeling is that I feel that you consciously undermining me right now. And that would be a very strong argument. It actually feels to me that you're consciously trying to create conflict. And he's like, no, I don't want to do this consciously. This is like almost 100% you will get this. No, I'm not doing that. I feel like you like trying to create a scene on purpose. No, I'm not doing that. You're just not listening to me. Okay, if you don't want to do this consciously, here's another way we can deal with that. And like, this is a really good thing. I just didn't like the disappointment. And I would say I didn't really get the actual problem from your statement. So how about someone else tries? Well, this is actually it. Yep.
Okay, let's try. So, I'm also feel like disappointed because this feature fails, and I see that you like several times already said about like some features failed and you also feel disappointed. But what I needed you to do is to respect my right as the manager to like try new things because this is like giving me 5
Nice. I like it. Yeah, what I would also like to like add here, like in my speech, I really like that. Respect Marat as a manager. That would be okay. So I'm saying that is finished. Yes, yes, I love it actually. So the thing is, I really love the request, the idea. I'm sorry, this is throws me, of course. Okay, what I wanted to leave you with is that not to leave you, but just a little bit. It's not necessarily you like do the exact formula that you were given, but the segments are very useful. Like, and you can mix them up whenever, however you want, and this would give you a structured and conscious feedback about both your boundaries and the work of your teammates. And this would be very good because at the same time, we said that there is a request at the end, right? But it's not something that like you always need a request like with the right to refuse, right? This is request always like has the right to refuse built in. It's not something that we always have to do. But yeah, but there are different kind of directives you can add here. Sometimes it's a question, what do you want us to do in the next time this comes? Oh, actually, I remember. So the thing that I wanted to add to this would be, if you think that like this was not an optimal like idea, I want you to come to me personally and discuss it with me, not in front of everyone, because I felt that the way you did it was passive aggressive. So something like this, because for me it's difficult to like, because it's in front of everyone and I see that your frustration, and I don't know if it's like because of the problem or because I actually didn't listen to you. So this also might be fuzzy to me. So the right to refuse is also a very good way to end the feedback that I'm giving, or sometimes to tell the consequences. If you want to fire a person, and listen, this is not the first time we're having this type of conversation. I feel like you're undermining my authority on purpose. We already had this kind of topic with you, and I gave you feedback on if you want me to change the process, come directly to me. Still, you're doing it in front of all the team and in a way that I don't really like. Unfortunately, if this goes on, we'll have to part ways. So this would be a good way to go through this situation, because this shows to others why and what are you doing. Yeah, and order in demand, sometimes we have this, like I require, yes. I'm sorry. I really want to tell you more, but we are out of time. This is a perfect slide for this. And this is what I wanted to tell you, but thank you. And if you want to talk to me more, like here at like any kind of messaging channels, you can reach me in. I would really like your feedback and questions and cases. So yeah, thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Alexandra.